What is the best way to meet a ton of Disney characters while chowing down on incredible Disney foods? We are breaking down our full guide to character meals in Disney World, but be warned, it is not all it's cracked up to be. Character dining and character meals can be a really important part of your Disney World trip when you're traveling with children, or maybe even just some children at heart, because isn't that what we all are at the end of the day? If you don't know what character dining or character meals are, it's essentially different table services that you can find around Disney World Resort where you can go and enjoy a meal while characters come to you at your table. It's generally a meet and greet while you're dining in the restaurant. They come from table to table, so you 9 times out of 10 don't have to go to them, and they can take photos, interact with your family, and maybe even give you an autograph or two. It's kind of a way that you can get a guaranteed FaceTime with a character in an air-conditioned environment, which is not always the case if you're meeting them in the parks. A lot of people prefer it because you don't have to wait in those super long lines, and you can chow down on waffles, Mickey-shaped items, and different really good foods while you just kind of wait for the characters to come to you. All of this does sound like a really nice win-win in our book. This all sounds fun and dandy, but what are your options? Now, there are actually quite a few of them in Disney World, so hold on tight with me as we break these down. For breakfast, you're gonna have a ton of options, but these are breakfast only spots, okay? So first is gonna be Cape May Cafe hosts Minnie's Beach Bash. This is gonna be over at Disney's Beach Club Resort near the Epcot area, and you're gonna find characters like Minnie Mouse, Goofy, Donald, Daisy, and it can rotate, but it's typically those 4. You can also go to Ohana's Best Friend Breakfast, which is at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort near Magic Kingdom. This is where you're gonna find Mickey in a really fun Hawaiian shirt and Lilo and Stitch, and Pluto occasionally, but not necessarily every time. Topolino's Terrace is gonna have a la art with Mickey and his pals. This one is going to be over near the Epcot area as well, and it is at Disney's Riviera Resort. You're gonna find Mickey, Minnie, Donald, and Daisy at this one. You're gonna find those 4 characters in really special costumes, and they all have different art or different forms of art that they're doing. One of the more underrated gems is going to be Ravello over at the Four Seasons Resort at Disney World, and it's their Good Morning Breakfast with Goofy, and this actually blew us away. We have a video up on the channel if you want to go check it out. It was incredible. You can meet Goofy, Mickey, and Minnie at this spot, and it's tons of fun. So those places are breakfast only. Now, there is one spot in Disney World that only offers dinner character dining, and that is going to be Artist Point Storybook Dining with Snow White. That's a long name. This one knocks us off our feet. I love this spot. We do have a full review on the channel of this one as well. And this is over at Disney's Wilderness Lodge. It's in the Magic Kingdom Resort area. And this is where you're gonna meet particularly rare characters like Snow White, the Evil Queen, and Dopey and Grumpy. And it's a lot of fun. We may have skipped some of your favorites so far if you aren't recognizing a few and think, oh, you can eat there for breakfast. That's true, but we're about to break down all of the character dining meals that you can have multiple options at. So breakfast, lunch, or dinner. First is the Akershus Royal Banquet Hall with the Princess Storybook Dining. This is over in Epcot, and you're gonna see a rotating cast of princesses, but typically it's Snow White, Belle, Princess Aurora, and Jasmine. We also have seen Tiana in the past. We've seen Cinderella at times, but it does rotate through the Disney princesses that you can meet there, but you can be guaranteed you will meet some princesses. Chef Mickey's Character Buffet, you can actually have breakfast and dinner at this spot. And this is over at Disney's Contemporary Resort, and this is where you're going to meet Chef Mickey and his pals, the Fab Five in a way. It's Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Goofy, and Pluto. They're all in their chef's getup. This one is incredibly popular and very well known. When people think of character dining, they typically think of Chef Mickey's. Cinderella's Royal Table is over in Magic Kingdom, and this one is particularly exciting because you actually get to eat inside Cinderella Castle in Magic Kingdom. At this spot, you're also going to find a rotating cast of princesses. For sure, Cinderella is going to be there, and then we often see Ariel, Belle, Princess Aurora, Jasmine, and Snow White. Regardless of the character rotation, because that is subject to change, you will meet Cinderella at the Grand Hall prior to going in and having a full sit-down experience. So Cinderella, you'll go to her, everyone else will come to you. The Crystal Palace offers a really fun, unique character meal because it's with Winnie the Pooh and all of his friends. This one is also over in Magic Kingdom, and you can meet Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, Piglet, and Eeyore. Garden Grill over in Epcot also offers character dining for all 3 of their meal types, and this one is one of our tried and true favorites. We talk about this one quite a bit. Over here you can meet Chip and Dale, Mickey Mouse, and Pluto, and the restaurant actually rotates and you actually get to see inside Living with the Land. So another cool bonus of this restaurant. Tucker House offers Donald's Dining Safari, and this one is located in Animal Kingdom, and you get to see characters in really fun safari outfits like Donald, Daisy, Goofy, and Mickey Mouse. Over at 1900 Park Fair, you can have breakfast or dinner at this spot and meet some characters. And this one is at Disney's Grand Floridian Resort. It was actually closed for several years and just reopened not too long ago. It's really fun. This also has a rotating cast of characters, but now with the new iteration, the wish makers that you're going to meet are Aladdin, Cinderella, Mirabelle, and Tiana. And Tiana actually meets in her newer outfit that she debuted with the Tiana Bayou Adventure ride, which is very cool. Finally, we have Hollywood and Vine. This one is over in Disney's Hollywood Studios, and it actually previously just had a pretty big change. So one thing that's really cool about this is it actually changes throughout the seasons. Minnie hosts a seasonal dine throughout each of the seasons of the year. You're gonna be able to meet Minnie, Mickey, Goofy, and Pluto at this spot, but depending on when you go, they might be in different outfits. In this upcoming year, Minnie's tribute to the silver screen is actually going to kick off on January 5th, 2026, which is pretty exciting. And then after that, it's going to be Minnie's Springtime Dine. Now, typically this one is March through May. They have not confirmed the official dates for it just yet for 2026. A beach party is set for later in the year with Minnie's Summertime Dine, and this one is typically late May through about mid-August. Minnie's Halloween Dine, it will run from August 16th through November 5th, 2025, and you can kind of look for similar dates in 2026. And then finally, Minnie wraps up the year with her Holiday Dine, which kicks off November 6th, 2025, and will run through January 4th, 2026. So depending on when you go, it's different outfits. Previously, this is also where you could meet a ton of Disney Junior characters at the breakfast option at this resort. They've completely removed that. So don't be looking for that anymore. That's actually a very recent change. Now, Minnie hosts all 3 meals at this restaurant. That is just a really quick glance and breakdown of what spots host character dining and what pals you can expect to find there. But how do you choose? Some of these sound really similar. Some of these might not even be on your radar. How do you choose which one is right for you on your vacation? First, it's really important to remember that not all of these spots are created equally. No offense. One of the biggest things you need to consider are what characters do you want to see? That's really where we recommend you start when it comes to character dining. Some of them only offer Disney princesses, some of them offer rare characters that you can't find anywhere else, and then some of them are always going to be Mickey and his Fab Five friends. It's just different. It really depends. If you don't care about princesses, you should not go to Cinderella's Royal Table. That is an expensive spot to meet characters you don't care about. After you decide what characters you're most interested in and you've kind of narrowed down your list, this is where price is going to come in. Unfortunately, character dining is one of the more pricey things you can do in Disney World when it comes to table service restaurants, because it is such an experience and you do get a little bit more than you would get at just a normal table service restaurant. One rule of thumb is to remember that breakfast is almost always going to cost you less. Typically we go to breakfast because it's just more affordable. It's a little bit more budget friendly. One great example is Cinderella's Royal Table, and for breakfast it's gonna cost you $76 per person, but then for dinner it's gonna cost you $89 per person. So it's not a massive difference, but it's enough that it really adds up, especially if you're going with a larger group. Unfortunately, if you're looking to really save money and you're not going to ball out, as we say, we would tell you to consider skipping out on character dining entirely. That's not the fun option. That's not the most exciting, but there's no cheap character dining in the same way that you can find truly cheap ways to eat around Disney World. You're gonna pay a pretty penny to meet those characters and eat while you're doing it. It's just not a budget-friendly option. That being said, some are more expensive than others. If you're using the Disney Dining Plan, it's also important to remember that sometimes these character dining meals can count for 2 table service credits, and it is not always worth that. If something is gonna cost you 2 table service credits, that is typically not the best way to use your dining plan and might be something that you should consider paying out of pocket for in addition to your dining plan. Not saying you have to, not saying that's the best option for you, but typically if something costs 2 credits, it's not going to be something that you can break even on or get your money's value out of. Another thing that's really important to consider is where are you going to be, like physically on your vacation? What are your plans? Where are you going to be at? Each park has at least one character dining option. Several of the resorts have quite a few options, so it's something that you can find a lot of, but it's not always worth going out of your way for. And by that we mean if you're doing a full Magic Kingdom day, you're not planning on leaving Magic Kingdom, we really don't recommend that you book a Garden Grill table service dining reservation for that same day. If you're not going to already be in Epcot and you would have to upgrade to a park hopper ticket, it just might be a little bit more hassle than it's worth. It also takes a pretty big chunk out of your day. So if you're not already going to be in Epcot, it's not always worth it. It's not to say that you can't do that. If that's what you want to do, it's your vacation. We're not here to judge. But if you're looking for ways to maximize your time and have these upgraded experiences, maybe consider don't going out of your way in that type of scenario. If you really want character dining, you're not super concerned about the characters that you're meeting, and you're already in Magic Kingdom, just do one of the Magic Kingdom options rather than hopping over to Epcot. It's also important to know what kind of food is going to be served at each spot. Almost every single spot has a little something different or a little something unique that you might not know about. I would take you through every single detail of every single full menu, but we would be here for days. So it's important for you to check out the menus, see what you're interested in, and understand that some of these are different style of dinings. So Cinderella's Royal Table, which we keep going back to, is a prix-fixe meal that you each get to order individually. Whereas something like Minnie's Holiday Dine over at Hollywood and Vine, it's a buffet, and Garden Grill is something that they bring you skillets and it's a family shared environment. So you need to consider things like family style dining, buffet style dining, and a la carte ordering versus what type of food they offer as well. Garden Grill tends to offer that kind of American comfort food. You're gonna find some good meat, vegetables, and macaroni and cheese, whereas Cape May is actually going to do the buffet style dining, and that is their breakfast option. So you're gonna find like a lot of waffles, hash browns, bacon, eggs, all that kind of good jazz. Prix-fixe spots like Storybook Dining and Cinderella's Royal Table, often you're gonna find something that's a little bit nicer in a way. Cinderella's, you can find steak and eggs for breakfast, you can find steaks for dinner. Storybook Dining, I know, offers prime rib, mushroom soups, things that are maybe a little bit more elevated because they are going to be pricier compared to the breakfast options that we've talked about. It's also important to note that some are just easier to go to than others. Again, not all of them are created equally, so some might be really hard to get a dining reservation for and some might be pretty darn easy. Reservations for 1900 Park Fair, Akershus, Cape May Cafe, and Crystal Palace are often more available than some of the other things that you're going to be looking for. Cinderella's Royal Table and Tolino's Terrace are famously two pretty hard to get reservations. So if you really want those, you need to be on the ball when it comes to your advanced dining reservations. Like as early as you can, that needs to be a major priority for you. You can make advanced dining reservations up to 60 days in advance, and they drop at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you're gonna be up and on the ball. I remember when I was planning one big vacation for me and my husband, I was setting alarms every single day to make sure I was able to check the new drops. If I didn't get something I wanted, I'd go back the next morning and see if the new day had more options. It's kind of like an Olympic sport. It's very competitive, especially if you're going after those like higher ticket items. If you're a resort guest, you can actually make them up to the length of your stay for 10 days. So that's 60 days before your trip. On your start day, you can go ahead and make your trip advanced dining reservations for the entire week that you're there, however long you're there. You're not gonna have to get up multiple days in a row unless you just don't get one reservation that you really, really, really want. You can do it all in one go, which is very nice. If you aren't staying on property, that's when you're typically gonna find yourself waking up a few days in a row based on how long you're going to plan on being in the parks if you want multiple dining reservations. It's all up to you. It's very user-friendly, but you do kind of have to plan in advance. Once you've considered all of these different aspects, you can actually make a pretty solid choice when it comes to character dining if that's something that's high priority on your list. We also have a ton of reviews if you're not entirely sure, like, is this worth it or not, over on AllEars.net, breaking down everything that you can expect to find at the restaurants, atmosphere, the menus, the characters that you'll meet. You can check out all of that there. Or if you're more partial to our friends over at Disney Food Blog, they also offer the exact same thing. So if you're not 100%, read a lot of reviews. It's one of my favorite things to do, so I feel like I'm fully informed before I go spend a pretty penny on character dining. Now, all of that to be said, what is an all ears video without dropping some of our best tips and tricks? So I'm gonna break down just a few of them here. First off, we always recommend sitting your kiddos on the outside of your tables. So if there's several of you and like you're in a bigger group, consider sitting your kids at the corners, or if you're up against a wall, sit them outside. This kind of allows the characters to interact with them more easily. You can get those good hugs, and you don't always have to pull them out of their high chair every time a character comes up. It's just not something you have to worry about, and it makes your life a little bit easier if the characters can get to your kids rather than you having to wrestle your kids to get to the characters. Make it a seamless transition for both of you involved. We also recommend having those autograph books ready. The characters, while they are coming to you, don't have a ton of time. They're meeting a lot of people while they're out on the floor. So if you know that you want a character signature or you want a photo, be ready. Kind of, if you see them getting near your table, go ahead and get your page open, get your pen ready, and have your cameras out and ready to go. That way the experience is not stressful, and it's, again, just kind of streamlined and easy for everyone involved. We've already talked about this one, but I'm gonna say it again to really nail the point. Consider going for breakfast. Breakfast is typically cheaper compared to dinner, and it's just a really nice way to start off your day. In addition to saving some money, it's like something to look forward to. It gets you out of bed, it gets you on your feet if you might otherwise have a little bit of trouble with that. Plus, it's not the end of the day and you're having to sit in maybe a nicer atmosphere feeling like sweaty and gross in your theme park clothes, which that's not the end of the world. We've done it, but it is kind of nice that you know you look good in your photos, you don't look tired and disheveled, and you're saving a little bit of money. So there's a few reasons that we like to try to do breakfast. You also need to focus on timing if you're gonna go to a buffet option. So if you're at a buffet, meeting characters as they come to tables kind of requires the right timing. What we mean by that is as the characters are going around, if you get up to go get your food and you come back, you might have missed the character, which is arguably the whole point that you're there. That's what you're excited for. So if you see the characters kind of inching closer and closer to you, kind of consider waiting on the characters to get to you first and then go grab your food at the buffet. If you're not entirely sure, just ask a cast member, like, hey, do I have enough time or should I wait? They can kind of help you gauge it. They're there every single day and they see how fast characters typically move, so they can kind of help you decide what's right for you in that moment. Characters definitely do tend to have a set rotation on what tables they go to, so sometimes you being a little bit more patient or going with the flow is going to be the best option for everyone. We have actually been in positions where we've missed characters before, and we've had to go back before we left and ask a cast member, like, hey, I didn't get to meet Donald, I really wanted to meet Donald before I left, and then they have to go get Donald, and like, they're always very accommodating, but it's also nice to not have to put yourself in the position to ask. Typically, as things are wrapping up and it gets to the point where maybe the characters are about to take a break for a while, a cast member will come to each table and be like, hey, was there anyone you didn't get to meet? Just so that way that issue doesn't occur, but just in case, if you see them getting close to you, wait to go get your buffet food. Another way to look at character dining is kind of use this as a road test on how your party is going to do when it comes to character meet and greet situations throughout your whole vacation. So if you are with a younger kiddo or you're with someone who maybe typically would not be drawn to character interactions, character dining is going to be a great way to kind of road test how that situation's gonna go. Sometimes character dining can kind of be that perfect in-between balance of like getting to meet a character but not having to wait a long time for that one-on-one interaction in a really long, hot, sweaty line when you don't know how they're gonna react. Not every kid likes to meet characters. Not every adult likes to meet characters. Sometimes it's something that's uncomfortable. So character dining kind of gives you an opportunity to like see how it's gonna go before you waste a lot of time in a really long line during your park day. If you get to character dining and your kid or you or whoever's in your party doesn't really react well, maybe that's something that's not right for this trip, but luckily you found out in a way that you didn't waste a lot of time and you were gonna eat a meal anyway, so you didn't really lose anything. It's also important to remember that not all of the food is gonna knock your socks off, despite the fact that it comes with a pretty price tag. Some of the food is incredible, and then some of the food is good. It's just not like knock your socks off, you're gonna dream about this when you go to sleep at night type food. It can be a little frustrating when you see the bill at the end of your character dining meal and think, well, it wasn't even really that great. So that's why we highly encourage you to read reviews before you go, watch a lot of review videos before heading to the reservation, because again, if you only care about characters, that doesn't really play a major part into it. But if this is one of your big meals of the day and you wanna enjoy it, you probably need to do a little bit of research beforehand. Not saying any of them are bad, just saying maybe some of them don't match their price tag. Character dining can be so much fun in Disney World. It can be the best time you've ever had. It can also be pretty disappointing if you pay a lot of money for it and it's underwhelming and not what you wanted it to be. So with all of this information in your arsenal, you'll be just fine when it comes to character dining in Disney World. If you've made it this far, be sure to drop this secret code in the comments and be sure to like and subscribe, because we are here almost every single day of the week doing tons of tips, tricks, and all the fun games. We do have a goal of getting to 500,000 subscribers and we're getting pretty darn close, so help us out. We're really excited about it. Be sure to stick around. Why? Because we're serious about fun. Bye!